My name is Meade Treadwell. I am a former lieutenant governor, which is like vice governor of Alaska, 2010-2014. I was also chair of the U.S. Arctic Research Commission. And before that, I was in several different businesses and was the vice minister for environment here. And I've worked on Alaska-Russia relations for a very long time, dating back to a visit in 1981 and many more visits since. They did seem to get along and they did seem to enjoy each other's company, but I think there was a little bit of frustration on the U.S. side. But I'll put it this way, it was very good that it happened. I always say that jaw is better than war. And trying to bring the war to a conclusion is very important, and it sometimes can't be done in a day. I think that was pretty special. I also think President Putin's statements at the end about Alaska were very kind. I worked very hard in the late 1980s at the end of the Cold War to open the border between Alaska and Russia. We took over 10,000 people in ecotourism to the Russian Far East. We had more college students from Russia than all the other universities in the United States combined. There are many children and grandchildren of Ukrainian and Russian parents living here. And I think the understanding that was shown of our common history is very, very important. Vladimir Putin has done his homework on Alaska, not just today, but I've been in the room with him in Archangels at an Arctic conference. I certainly read his statements and follow his feelings about the Arctic and defense, and he's a very good student of all of the Arctic. He did talk today about a large number of place names in Alaska that came from the Russians when they had control here from 1741 to 1867. We talked about the Russian Orthodox churches, many of which I've helped to preserve over time, but there is a very active congregation of Russian Orthodox in Alaska, as well as saints that have come from Alaska. He talked about the common heritage that we have in the Arctic. He talked about the people who are related across, and I thought that was very, very important because I think he said good day neighbors. And we definitely do think of the Russians as our neighbors. We are very upset about the invasion in Ukraine. We're very upset that this war has taken 4 years to even talk about settling. There's many ways to change borders of a country by purchase, negotiation, or conquest, but I think conquest should be off the table. And I think most Americans, whether they're left or right, whether they're Russian descent or Ukrainian descent, feel the same way here. And so we are very hopeful that something can be brokered to get a solution to this awful war. And we are very happy to be the venue. I have told my friends that it may not look very successful right now, but you can go back and look at Reagan-Gorbachev in Iceland, and it didn't look very successful that day either, but it was ultimately very successful. And we know that we're in a process that has to continue. I thought that was very promising, and I also believe that President Trump did the right thing, is to say that he wanted to break the ice, so to speak, but it's really up to Ukraine, and he wants to keep Europe in the loop, and I think that was all very, very fair and the right thing to do. So that's why we couldn't know the outcome right now. And that's a very, very respectful thing. We have very strong allies in Europe. Many of them are here practicing their airplane maneuvers right now with NATO. And I believe the president was being very respectful. But the fact that he had good things to talk to Ukraine and Europe about is a very promising sign. And frankly, when we've had the breakdown in relations over Ukraine, it has hurt our fish. It has hurt our potential cooperation in energy. We were looking at using some energy from Russia in Western Alaska is one example. And so if we can resolve this war and if the sanctions can be lifted, there's tremendous opportunity for cooperation in the Arctic. And I'll just give you one. I used to fly a lot to Asia, I still do, but occasionally I will fly to Asia from Shanghai, or from Shanghai, say, to Chicago, or from Detroit to Tokyo. And most of that trip is usually over Russia. That's the shortest route. American flyers and European flyers going to East Asia would pay over $500 million a year for overflight fees. That ended with Ukraine. That's just one thing that would immediately bring new business to Russia. I think the meeting went very well. It was in the Arctic Center at the base, and we are preparing to bring many more people from many different countries to talk about Arctic security. And we can all dream someday that Russia is part of those discussions. So the answer is, this has been a good place to meet many times for other leaders coming through. And we had Reagan and the Pope, we had Nixon and Hirohito, and now we've had President Trump and President Putin, and I hope we have more, because we are a good halfway mark between both countries.